Hey guys, welcome back to Marvel Rivals What If. Today we're going to be talking about how to make some of the most popular characters from this game into different roles. Now when it comes to Marvel Rivals, there are a ton of characters to play, but the three different roles you can play are duelists, which are DPS, basically like the DPS characters, like Punisher uses his guns, does a bunch of damage, Hela can one-shot people and two-shot people with their spears, or Black Panther who can dash around the map and hook people with his spears, and Iron Man flying in the air and shooting people from above. DPS characters like that fall in the duelists. Strategists are healers, like Mantis can heal people from afar, Cloak and Dagger can heal people right next to her, and of course Rocket Raccoon can revive people with his BRB machine. And then finally, Vanguards are tanks, obviously Hulk, brute strength, Captain America uses his shield, Penny Parker is a control tank, uses her mines to trap up an area, and Groot can place a lot of walls. So when it comes to those, there are three main roles, and a lot of characters fit into those roles pretty nicely, like Hulk for a tank, Spider-Man for a duelist, and Mantis for a healer. But when it comes to there's certain characters that don't fall into the roles, and are kind of interesting in what role they decide to put things in. For example, Loki. Loki's a villain, pretty much evil the entire way. Obviously the MCU kind of made him have an anti-hero arc, but for the most part he was a villain, so a lot of people expected him to be a DPS duelist similar to his evil sister Hela. But no, he's a healer. He heals people with his staff. He could spawn duplicates of himself to double and triple his healing output, but he could have obviously been a DPS. They could have switched his healing to deal damage. His copies deal more damage than healing to basically double triple his damage. His invisibility allows him to sneak away from team fights, so he can be kind of a flanker, flank from the backside. And instead of his lamps that he uses to give mass regeneration and healing and damage resistance to his allies, could have been made to weaken opponents instead. So Loki could have obviously been a duelist if they wanted it to, but they instead made him to a healer for some reason. So some characters don't fit into that mold. So what this series is basically going to be is that I'm going to take here characters from this game and make them into another role, basically making them into another role that they aren't in it. That I'll take the role that they are, like Loki for example, I make him into a duelist because he's currently a healer. I make him into a DPS. And basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking those heroes and swapping their roles out and seeing how good it would be. Because Marvel Rivals is a very diverse game, and there's a multiverse of options for us to do this with. So you can basically make any hero anything if you put your mind to it, and that's what we're going to be doing in this series. And of course, I've decided to make this also into a tier list. So basically there are 6 tiers here of rating on how logical this change would be. Obviously, should have happened means, like, for people who think Loki should have been a duelist instead of a healer, if I changed him into a duelist, I'd probably put it in should have happened, because he should have been a damage character rather than a healer, even though I think he's quite a unique healer in his own right. Could have happened means it could have been it could have happened. They could have been on the fence about making it either or, and they decided to put them in their role that they are in now, but they could have put them into the role that I'm going to make them into. Somewhat works basically means that it's more pros than cons. There's more positives. It's more logical than illogical to be in this role, but of course there's still some cons or some problems or illogical fallacies about putting them in this role. 50-50 just means that it's 50% yeah, 50% nah. It works 50% of the time, but the other 50% is a little bit iffy. It's a stretch. That category is like a C tier. It's like, I can see how you got to that. I can see how you did that, but also it's kind of a stretch, and it kind of stretches the kid out a little bit too much. And then No Way Host Way is basically like no way. Nope, it's just a dream. It's just not going to happen. Obviously, when it gets to characters like healers that are like main healers, or tanks trying to make them into something else other than tanks, then it comes a little bit like, no way, no, they're going to be tanks. They're not just going to be like that. But the reason why I made this video is because we're going to try and make a tank into not a tank. And that's when it gets to Captain America. I really do think that this is one of the only tanks that you can do this with. I do think you can probably do this with Thor as well, or Penny Parker. But I think Captain America is a good example of could have been a duelist or a strategist or a tank. Could have been either or. He is a very offensive way when it comes to his tanking skills. He's a dive tank. He dives into the back line, tries to get a couple picks off, and can shield himself to run away. So he does have that duelist arc, but he also has that strategist arc where he does shield his team and he does give them a speed boost with his ultimate. So he is a natural born leader, so he could have been a strategist. But of course it makes a lot of sense that he's a tank, being that he has technically an indestructible shield and obviously has a lot more health. But in this video, we're going to be using his tank kit and we're going to convert it into a healing kit. So I think that his kit focuses more on the strategery side of being a strategist. Not all strategists have to be max healers. We saw this at Adam Warlock where his main kit at first was he did a lot of healing, but his main thing seemed to be bonding his team so they all had damage reduction. I think Captain America would do the same thing, but I'm going to pull a little bit from Overwatch and Lucio, and Captain America is kind of going to boost his team through not only healing but also speed, giving them a little speed boost. And I'm going to show you guys how that works. But first we're going to go over his tank stats. So he has 300 health plus 300 regenerative shielding that regenerates as long as he doesn't take damage over time. And of course his playstyle is dives into an area, gets a couple picks, and then leaves to go heal up. When it comes to his primary, it's him striking with his shield and his fist. Landing 2 consecutive hits enables him to throw his shield, and his shield throw can ricochet up to 4 times off opponents and walls. His secondary Living Legend is when instead of hitting people with his shield, he puts up his shield, which has 350 health, and this also leads into his passive, which gives him a 33% speed boost as he's able to run away. So he does have a sprint mobility similar to Soldier 76, where he can run away passively. When it comes to his abilities, he has a Super Soldier Slam where he can jump down into an area and ground pound, doing an AoE slam attack, which is pretty nice. Liberty Rush is a charge, allows him to charge and pin and hit multiple enemies with his shield as he charges by. And then his third ability is Vibranium Energy Gel, where he launches his shield in a direction. It bounces off multiple opponents before recalling back to him in a straight line attack. And then finally, his ultimate Freedom Charge gives himself and allies all over health around him, gives him a 30% speed boost, and gives all allies around him a 20% ult boost. Also, allies and himself that are around him in his ultimate will gain regenerative shielding, meaning that they will gain shields and he will heal himself a ton while in his ultimate for 10 to 12 seconds. So pretty good tank stats, but I think we can work on this to make it a healer. So obviously he does have some team ups as well that we're going to try and keep. His stars aligned with Winter Soldier. He can leap into a teammate similar to the Thing, granting them 150 bonus health and taking damage directed at that ally, basically meaning he blocks damage directed at an ally for a limited time. And there's an enhancement. Bucky and Cap can leap into each other, granting them both over health as well as nearby allies, and granting 25 speed boost to all nearby allies and themselves. And then of course you also have Voltaic Union, with Thor adds plus 45 damage to each shield strike, so all of his shield attacks do extra damage, and Ricochet with that Sentinel strike attack. And of course every second hit from a shield also deals an AoE burst of shock lightning damage, which is pretty dang cool. So this team up, we're going to try and keep both of these, and I do think they can still work when it comes to the healing aspect of making him a strategist and a healer, but we're going to try and keep these team ups in the back of our minds and try to make something work. But now when it comes to his support stats, I do think his health should still be 300. We're just going to take off those 300 regenerative shields that make him a tank, make him have 600 health basically. We're going to take off that just because we're going to try and make him have a little bit of balanced health. He's going to have the same health that the Punisher does, so it's not going to be that much of a stretch, because most healers have either 200 or 250. Ultron can have up to 300 health, so it makes sense. It's not out of the ordinary for a strategist to have 300 health, and he is kind of muscular, so let's be honest here. His primary is going to stay the same. It's only going to have minor changes, just basically punching or hitting with his shield, but his shield throw can now ricochet off allies, which grants them over health via regenerative shielding. So every ally it hits grants them some over health via some regenerative shielding. So instead of him getting that regenerative shielding, now he can cast it on allies that he hits with his shield throw, which of course he gets for every 2 consecutive hits with his Sentinel Strike primary. So minor changes, but I think it works well with his current ability. And then of course his secondary has major changes. So his Living Legend is when he puts up his shield. His shield now has more health with 400. His shield can regain health when Cap is healed by another ally, or he has it lowered. So it gains health back on itself when it's not in use, or if Cap is healed, which is pretty cool. When raised, he can run forward and use it as though he's activated his passive leading dash, which allows him to run around with the shield up. And if he runs for long enough, he can melee bash an enemy into a nearby wall or backwards with it. So basically, he can build up momentum by running around with this shield in his hand, and allows him to bash enemies, melee bash them into a wall. I focus this kind of similar to Brigitte from Overwatch, where she can bash people with their shield. This would be the same thing, except it's basically something he can do passively as long as he runs long enough with it. And then, of course, if he jumps off a ledge while running, he can slam into the ground similar than if he activated his Super Soldier Slam ability. So basically, this combines 3 abilities into one. It combines his secondary to have the passive leading dash when he can run a ton more faster, and he can use Super Soldier Slam to slam off a ledge. So he can use 3 abilities in one, of course, also with a melee bash if he runs enough. So already doing pretty well when it comes to making his kit more efficient. Now, his passive is going to be Determination. This is what he's going to be providing to his team. Grants a 20% speed boost to all nearby allies. So he basically gives his entire team 20% speed for a limited time as long as they're around him. So that's super useful. He can charge into the battle with his team. And every time he hits an enemy with his shield, this speed boost increases and it stacks. So if he deals 3 hits in a row, all nearby allies will also gain overhealth and a little bit of regen. So not only does he do hits with his shield increase the speed boosts that he grants to nearby allies, but if he deals 3 hits in a row with his shield, all nearby allies will gain overhealth through regenerative shielding, and a little bit of healing as well through regen. So they gain a little bit of regen over time. If he gets 3 hits in a row, is also overhealth. So he's already tanking up his opponents. He's basically making his team more tanky and more fast. That, I think, is good for Captain America. He's not a good healer, but when it comes to boosting up his team, I mean, it basically means that all of his team members will have a bigger health pool and will also get a little bit of regen and can be faster. So they can dodge attacks quicker and get on the point faster. So he's going to be very essential when it comes to rushing a point or charging into battle, because he is a great healer to mobilize around. And that also builds into his ability Liberty Rush, his charge ability. Activating the charge ability grants nearby allies 25% speed boost, which stacks on his regular speed boost from his passive Determination, and also gives them regen. So passive, this Liberty Rush not only is a charge ability for him that allows him to run around with his shield up really fast, but will also grant nearby allies a speed boost and regeneration. And hitting an enemy whilst charging heals nearby allies. So not only is it good for him to boost up his allies, but if his allies follow him while he goes around hitting other enemies, they will also heal as well. So if you're on the point hitting people and Captain America charges around the objective, not only is he hitting enemies on the objective and dealing damage, but he's also healing his nearby allies on the point as well. So Captain America is going to work as a frontline healer that is going to kind of make it more appealing and more attractive for other allies to stay on the point. Like close-up heroes like Magic, Black Panther, melee characters like Iron Fist, characters that need to be up and close and personal. Captain America is going to make that work, because he's not only going to be dealing damage with it and giving them overhealth and speed, but also healing them when he deals hits. So Captain America is going to be make objective diving very attractive. To stay on the objective, Captain America is going to be almost exactly like he is in tank form, but now he's going to be healing his team rather than just himself. And of course, when it comes to his other ability, Vibranium Energy Saw, this is going to be minor changes, can hit up to 4 enemies at once. Each hit grants you and nearby allies overhealth, so of course most of his attacks, as you can see, are boosting his allies' overall health pool by gaining them shielding, regenerative shields, and any crit shots grant 10% regen for nearby allies, meaning that they will regenerate 10% of their health. So of course, getting those crit shots will also give your allies healing, which not only rewards your allies, but also rewards Captain America players for having the skill enough to get crit shots with that Vibranium Energy Saw, which, if you think about it, if you hit up to 4 enemies at once, if you get all 4 crit shots, all of your nearby allies will heal up to 40% of their max HP, which is very useful. So it rewards skill. And finally, His third one is now a completely healing ability, basically giving him some way of healing his team, just because he is a healer technically, and even though his kit mostly revolves around stacking up over health and giving his team a little bit of a buffer when it comes to giving them more health than usual, he does have a healing ability that he can do. Gives him and nearby allies a power jump, so basically a double jump, a super jump for them to use. Think of Jubilee's double powerful jump that she can use, and Iron Fist's like triple jump he can do. Similar to that, a power jump that they can use at any time, so all nearby allies get this. They gain a 33% speed boost, which stacks on his passive, so that's pretty cool. And it gives himself a healing radius of 50 health per second. So basically means that if you stand in his radius you will heal 50 HP per second, and this will last for 5 seconds. So you can potentially heal up to 250 health if you stand in his radius, and will also heal himself. So not only is it a self-heal thing, but also will heal other enemy allies as well, and gives everyone 33% speed boost and a power jump. So pretty dang useful for Eternal Value. That is his main healing ability that he could use. And finally, his ultimate has minor changes. Freedom Charge is basically just going to deal healing as well as giving people over health. So basically they're just going to get over health as long as they're nearby you as you're in your charge form. Freedom Charge is basically just going to work the exact same, except it's going to give some speed boosts and some over health to allies. So it's kind of minor changes, but nothing too crazy. And of course, when it comes to Captain America, I do think there are a lot of potential playstyles for him to have when he is in this strategist form. He can be a dive healer, can flank alongside other dive heroes to boost their mobility while providing crucial healing and overhealth. Magic, Elsa, Black Panther, Bucky, his best friend in combat. They can dive into an area, he gives them speed, overhealth to tank damage, and it can boost their mobility with that speed while providing crucial healing over time, which is useful. So he can be a great dive healer. He can also be a great off-tank, can provide an off-tank hybrid healer role within the team. That means that your team can run only one tank and have Captain America as kind of like a hybrid tank/healer on your team that fills both the role of being a healer and a tank at the same time. Because not only does he heal people, but he also boosts their HP, so technically he is making up for that HP difference when it comes to only having one tank on your team by providing over health and heightening the max HP for all your teammates. And that also makes Cap the perfect filler pick, because we all know it's really hard to get 2 tanks when it comes to Marvel Rivals, so having an off-tank could be pretty good. He's also a good shield healer, the only support so far that provides mass shielding and overhealth to teammates consistently. So yeah, he's really the only hero that focuses more on strengthening your team through giving them overhealth and shielding and speed boosts, other than maybe Ultron's defensive imperative, but really that only works if he's next to his team, which he very rarely is. And otherwise, he's really just a good character when it comes to boosting his team, not through healing, but keeping them alive more via that max health, especially if he's paired with another healer that can heal people up to their new max health. Because that would mean that not only is Captain America boosting them up health-wise, but if they are healed to full, they have like 50 to 75 more HP than they usually have, which is a big, massive deal when it comes to team fights. And finally, he's a great whoosh support alongside Jeff and Mantis that can both boost damage and speed. He can make them rush to his team to the control point the quickest to cap the point and set up a defensive position on the objective via control point stuff like Krakoa and such. He can run to the point with his team and basically allow them to set up a defensive position so they can always be on the defense and always be ready to fight first than the opponent team. So basically he's a rushing healer. He's a rush healer, either diving, off tanking, shielding his team, or rushing his team to the objectives. Very good, especially in a situation where overtime is possible. Great way to rush your team to the point. Alright, and then when it comes to his team ups, a little bit of minor stuff. So he can leap into a teammate if Winter Soldier is on his team, gaining 100% bonus health and taking directly damage directed at that ally. The only thing that I would add is that the ally gains regen for 5 seconds, so that gave the ally something useful as well. So basically, he gains bonus health, and the ally gains regen, and he blocks damage directed at them. So his team up is a little bit better, but also not completely broken. And then his enhancement is Bucky and Cap can leak into each other, basically doing the same thing they used to do, but now nearby allies and Bucky will also gain a temporary regen for 5 seconds. So not only will nearby allies gain that regen, but Bucky also will as well. And when it comes to Voltaic Union, also very minimal stuff here. It'll add 45% damage to each shield strike, same as usual, but the enhancement, every second hit will deal that AoE burst of damage, and will grant motivation points for his passive, Determination. Basically, every single hit will add on to that speed boost that his passive gives, so that'd be really good, and it'll give overhealth for Thor. So not only will it be better for Thor in this instance, but also every hit will gain more speed for his passive, which gives a speed boost to all nearby allies. So very good. This will make the team, both his teammates, even better because they provide extra shield and extra healing, as long as overhealth for Thor as well. And yeah, that's really going to be Captain America. We did minor changes to Sentinel Strike, Vibranium Energy Saw, Liberty Rush, and Freedom Charge, and Stars Aligned and Voltaic Union. Minor changes to all those. We majorly changed his secondary Living Legend to basically have 3 sub-abilities that he can use. A new passive Determination, and a new ability that gives a little bit more healing to his kit with Eternal Valor. So yeah, when it comes to Captain America, I would put this on could have happened. It really could have been either role. I do think he fits Duelist as well. You could make it so he's an attacker with a shield, similar to Punisher with his turret being shielded, or Namor with the fact that he can put himself in a bubble to shield himself from all attacks. I do think you could have had he could have been a Duelist. He could have been any role. Obviously, they stuck with Vanguard. I think they did a good job with this kit, but I honestly think that it could have happened where he would have been a strategist. I mean, it makes sense. The strategery role, he's like the leader. He leads the Avengers. He's like the person you think of from Marvel when you think of who's the best team leader in Marvel. Captain America. He basically fits the role very well when it comes to strategery. He's a military guy. He went through World War II and he fought during Infinity Wars and all these MCU other wars. He led his team through the thick and thin, and I do think that the strategery role could have happened. I just think they wanted to lean more towards him being a shield tank, but we already had Magneto, Doctor Strange, and Groot as shield tanks. So realistically, and Angela also has a shield as well. Realistically, they could have made him a strategist and made him the first and only shield healer, a healer that uses a shield. But I'm just putting it in should have happened, the could have happened. Obviously, I think it should have happened too, but I'm gonna leave that up to you in the comments. Let me know down below what role you thought Captain America was going to be before the game came out. If you thought he was going to be a healer, I thought he was going to be a healer, to be honest, because it made sense, because he's kind of one of the only like moral characters in Marvel that like has a strict no-kill policy. And it also, he kind of like tries to be like the moral man on the team. He's the only person that Hulk respects on the Avengers, which is very interesting. He's the only character in the MCU besides maybe Black Widow that can kind of have like a conversation with Hulk in Hulk form. So it's like, I mean, he's got the moral characteristics, he's got the strategery of having a military background, and he's got the shield, so he can defend people. So I do think he could have been a strategist, but let me know down in the comments if you think it should have happened, could have happened. You think maybe it somewhat works. You think maybe it's a 50-50, he could have been a tank or a healer, or maybe you think I stretched a little bit, giving him that speed boost from nearby allies. I really don't think it's going to be a no way Jose, but maybe there's some people in the comments that heavily disagree. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below if you're new to the channel. Comment down below what you think about Captain America, and if you think I did a good job switching him up from a tank to a healer. And of course, I'll see you guys with the next hero. Toodaloo!